Hello, White Rock Baptist. I know some of you are concerned. What's going on? We find ourselves living in an unprecedented time, almost. By now, most of you would have known that the Ministry of Education said this morning that school in British Columbia is closed indefinitely. That means not only are schools closed, not only are community centers closed, we're seeing companies, we're seeing organizations, places where people gather, closing almost on a daily basis and all closing indefinitely. Last week, groups of no more than 250 were banned. This last few days, we saw that drop down to no more than 50 people can gather. And with some people even starting to push for no more than 10 people gathering in any one place in any one time. Of course, that impacts us, the church. How do we do church in this new landscape, in this new era we find ourselves in? Yes, we should be praying. We should be praying that COVID-19, the pandemic that is changing the shape of the world, would be resolved. That we would find a cure, that we would find a vaccine, that we would be able to deal with it and flatten the curve. It's with that whole flatten the curve idea that we as a church are trying to figure out how should we best respond. We're hearing our political leaders, we're hearing our community leaders ask us and ask communities not to travel, not to go out of their homes, not to gather anywhere, to try for the next few weeks to remain in isolation, as it were, or to remain alone without contacting other people, without connecting with other people physically, so as to stem the tide. So how does that impact us as a church? Last week, we made the comment that church as a gathering on Sunday morning could not happen and therefore would not happen. We said life groups could keep going. But given the change of the landscape, given the requests that's coming through, we as a church leadership and as a board believe that we need to go to the point of saying that no church gatherings will happen at this time. That means not only church on Sunday or Sunday school or youth, but even our life groups are being advised not to meet physically in one another's homes. Yes, we could look at that as something to be afraid of or something to rebel against. But my brothers and sisters, we're not being persecuted here. We're being asked, would we be a part of the solution instead of a part of the problem? And so, yes, I know your fears and I know your concerns. What will it look like to remain in isolation? I want to encourage each of our life groups, use this time to connect with one another, to email, to phone, to FaceTime. Don't be afraid to reach out and care for one another. Encourage one another in every opportunity that you have. For those of you who perhaps in our church community are not in a life group, but you also have needs and there's nobody to help, I would invite you, email the church office or phone the church office. If it's after hours, leave a message. We'll do our best to get back to you the next day, and we'll do our best to help you in any way that we can. We're being asked, would we help? And we believe this is the greatest way that we right now can help. We're not being asked to no longer be the church. In fact, we're being asked to be the church rising up. I'm reminded of the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 says, now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. And of course, the greatest of these is love. Let us be known as a church community with deep faith, with a sense of hope that God is still good, God is still in control. And let us be known for our incredible love for one another and for the community around us. There are many in our church community and many of our neighbors who are vulnerable to illness, who are in that vulnerable demographic, and they need us to respond in the best possible way. My friends, I want to encourage you. Let us not give up hope. Let us not give up. Let us not withdraw into isolation, but rather let us seek to respond in a way that serves our world and indeed makes an impact in our community. We'll send another update in the next few days if anything changes. But I would encourage you, keep on praying for one another. Keep on praying for this pandemic and keep on praying for our leaders. And as you pray, Keep on encouraging. May the Lord bless you. Thank you. As far as church on Sunday morning goes, one of the questions we're getting is, what about church online? So for us right now, we are working on the technical side of things, and we're hoping to have Church Online Experience available by Sunday the 29th of March. We will send a few update videos over the next few days, but as it stands, this coming Sunday the 22nd of March, there will be no online church. Like I said, we'll have that on the go by the 29th, and thereafter for however long we need to keep on going. So feel free to connect with us from then.